Back again with another on review, and today we're going to talk about and review Red Sonja. And right off the bat, I would say this film here, at best, it's a time waster. It's a film that for me is just there. Like I know on IMDb it sits at a 5.1, and I can understand that rate, that rating. I know that Arnold has talked about, mentioned before, that this is his worst movie, and in fact, when his kids would get on his bad side for disciplinary action, he would make them watch this movie whenever they would misbehave and cause trouble. And I'm like, you think, Arnold, you think this is your worst movie? Why don't you make them watch, Terminator Genesis or, some other film? I mean, this film here, it's not a great movie, but, to say it's your worst movie, make them watch Hercules in New York. If you want to talk about embarrassing, which I know Arnold even hates that movie, to me, that's worse. You know, so, Arnold happy, which I'm sure his kids are grown up at this point. But why don't you make him watch Hercules in New York? I mean, this movie here uh, is a better movie, but at the same time, I can't say this is a great movie. It's not for me a rewatchable film. There's a few moments here and there, but basically the plot with this film here. I'll just get into the plot real quick. You have Red Sonja, who's played by Brigitte Nielsen, and she set out on revenge to avenge her family's murder and to seek revenge on the evil queen responsible for all this mayhem. And the queen has stolen a powerful glowing orb, right before it was meant to be destroyed. So Red Sonja recruits the help of this character Calidor, played by Schwarzenegger, and they set out on this adventure, to take down the queen, and that's kind of the plot here to this movie. Now, it's directed by Richard Fleischer, the same director who did Conan the Destroyer, Fantastic Voyage, Soylent Green, Tor, which I would say for me, he does a better job on Conan the Destroyer, because I know that one thing that's been said about this film here, that it's an inferior Conan movie, and because Arnold here, which I know he's not Conan, but he's pretty much is playing Conan, although it's a different character. And okay, so basically, in regards to that, Schwarzenegger had signed up for a glorified cameo as a favor to the producer. Much to his surprise, he was on set for 4 weeks, 3 weeks longer than he expected. And he discovered after watching a rough cut of the movie that his role had been expanded to co-star, thanks to crafty angles and multiple cameras. And then that's when, after this film, Schwarzenegger decided to terminate his 10-year contract with the producer. And, because of rights, they could not have him play Conan, so they have him play a different character here. Again, this warrior, Calidor. But, again, it's directed by Richard Fleischer, who did, Conan the Destroyer, Fantastic Voyage, which I mentioned before. That's a good 60s sci-fi movie. I haven't seen Soylent Green. Tor. I actually remember watching that in middle school, but that was probably 20 years ago. But I remember watching that in school. And I would say, like, in regards to direction, I would definitely say, it's a couple of steps down from the Destroyer, because for me, I felt Conan the Destroyer was a really good follow up to Barbarian. In fact, I've said before in my review when I talked about that movie, that it's my favorite because, it was more of an ensemble piece. Which here you do have a little bit of like you have a little bit of a ensemble because you have, Brigitte Nielsen, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you have a young Ernie Reyes Jr., yeah, who would play, uh, Kino in Ninja Turtles 2 and Surf Ninjas. He plays a spoiled prince in this movie. And, so there's still a little bit of an ensemble there, but not, the strong, like, not the ensemble of the Conan the Destroyer, where you had Grace Jones and Tracy Walter and Wilt Chamberlain. But yeah, I would say, again, in terms of direction, uh, it's definitely down a couple of notches. Uh, Again, it just, I don't know what happened there. I mean, I felt that Fleischer did a better job on, Destroyer, to where this feels like more of an inferior version of Conan the Destroyer. And again, I know that's been said before, but yeah, so I mean, I feel that that's a better movie. And this is kind of like even a more of a lighter, uh, version of that. Now, the cast here, you have the main character, Red Sonja, played by Brigitte Nielsen. And, throughout the film for me, and this is just my opinion, I felt that at times, she came off a bit stiff, a bit wooden. And I like Brigitte Nielsen. I feel that, she does better in other movies, whether it be Cobra or Rocky 4, Beverly Hills Cop 2, so I feel that she does better in those movies. But I don't know if it's because of the type of film it is or the script or, bad direction, what have you. I just think that Brigitte Nielsen, again, at points, came off a bit stiff and wooden, so I don't know if maybe you could have gotten someone else, which I know Sandahl Bergman, who played the Evil Queen, she was offered to play the lead role, but, she turned it down to play the antagonist. I don't know if she would have done better or, someone else. Like, I don't know, what other actress at this time would have played Red Sonja, but, and again, I like Brigitte Nielsen. I feel that she does better in other movies. So, but I don't think that she is the best here. Um, but that's just me. Of course, you have Arnold as the character of Calidor, which he pretty much is Conan. I mean, it's a different character, but he is pretty much playing Conan in this movie. And sorry, I get a little, I'm still a little dry in the throat, so I got to drink some water every now and then. But Arnold here, he's he's playing a supporting role, but it does feel like a glorified cameo. Um, I mean, he's in the film quite a bit, but at the same time, you could say that Arnold here is not given a lot to do. He feels like he's being wasted. Uh, and again, for Arnold to say that this is his worst movie, or oh, he would make his kids watch the film if they were misbehaving, and I'm like, again, go watch Hercules in New York. I mean, if I can be totally honest with you, I'd rather watch Junior. As weird as that film is, a little bit more because you still had Arnold and DeVito there, and they had a still that fun rapport. But anyways, no, I'm getting off track here. But Arnold here, I mean, he's again, he still plays a supporting role, but yet at the same time, he does feel uh, a bit wasted. But that's just me. I mean, he does. if you want to see Arnold play this character, just go watch the other Conan movies. I mean, that's just my take. If you want to see Arnold play this character, just go watch those movies. To me, he does a better job as Conan, and he's playing Conan. Here Calidor, he's a wannabe Conan. I mean, he's just a wannabe Conan. Again, it's pretty much his Conan, but not Conan. Anyways, Ernie Reyes Jr. Yeah, Kino from Ninja Turtles 2 and Surf Ninjas. He plays a spoiled prince in the film. And, when he's brought into the film, his character, again, he's very spoiled, and he has a servant, Falcon, played by Paul L. Smith. And Paul L. Smith, he was Bluto in the Popeye movie with Robin Williams. But, this character Falcon is the servant of Ernie Reyes Jr., his character. And this is definitely a young Ernie Reyes Jr. He was maybe 12 or 13 at this time. I don't know, his character throughout the film, I mean, he's kind of, again, he, just, again, spoiled, and he's just a little spoiled boy that is, calling his servant a fool and a lot. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was cool to see Ernie Reyes Jr. in there. But at the same time, you want to, just, I don't know, I like Ernie Reyes Jr., but this kid here, the way he plays the kid in the film, where he throws out insults and stuff to, his servant or whatever, it's like someone needs to really discipline the kid. But it's still Ernie Reyes Jr. I mean, I am a fan of Ernie Reyes Jr., whether it be, Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, again, Kino. So it's cool to see him in an early role here. And I don't know, just you kind of wish that, where's this kid's parents at? I mean, this kid needs to be disciplined. Someone discipline this kid. He's a spoiled character. I mean, by the end, you get a little bit of, action where he beats up, I think it's Ronald Lacey from, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, you get a little martial arts from Ernie Reyes Jr. at the end, just a little bit. So you see a little bit there. And so, I mean, again, while it's cool to see him, Ernie Reyes Jr., young here, in this cast, but at the same time, this character's like, where's his parents at? Someone discipline this kid. The character is okay, but you also have, again, Ronald Lacey in the film. You have, Paul L. Smith, again, who's the servant of Ernie Reyes Jr.'s character. Prince Tarn, the prince, his character. I mean, Ernie Reyes Jr.'s character in the film. But, the cast, I mean, Red Sonja. I mean, Bridget Nielsen as Red Sonja. I mean, again, I felt that at times, she came off a bit wooden, a bit stiff. Arnold, he's pretty much Conan, but he's not. It's like, which I know there's always been talks of, another Conan film that, King Conan, or whatever third film that has been talked about and discussed before. It's like, just give me another Conan film. Why is he playing this character that, just reminds you of Conan? I'd rather just go watch the first two Conan films. Sandahl Bergman as the Evil Queen, I thought she was fine. But But I mean, overall, the cast, it's like, they're there. Again, if you want to watch Arnold's worst, Hercules in New York, this is not his worst. And Bridget Nielsen, I feel she does better in other films. I don't think this is her, you know, I don't think she's great here, but that's just me. I can only, speak for me. But at the end of the day, Red Sonja, I would say, again, a time waster at best. It's not a great movie. Like if it came on TV and if I'm doing something else, I could be like, okay, it's on in the background. I've seen it before. I could just have it on in the back. And it's a background movie. I mean, it's kind of how I would describe it as, like, okay, seen this before. It doesn't need to require all of my attention because, it's not a classic. Maybe some people out there, like it more than I do, and that's fine. But for me, it's not a rewatchable film. The cast, again, Bridget Nielsen, I feel she does better in other movies. Arnold here, he's pretty much playing Conan, but he's not Conan. It just makes you want to go back and watch the other, the Conan films. Ernie Reyes Jr., it's cool to see him in an early role here, but, his character's way too spoiled at times. The Evil Queen, Sandahl Bergman, okay. Richard Fleischer, his direction, I'm like, to me, he did a better job on Destroyer, and this is down a couple of notches. I mean, there's some good production value there, where it's all practical, backdrops and stuff, and I can appreciate that. The score is okay, but it's not one of Ennio's best scores. So, I mean, and going back to Arnold for a second, I mean, it does seem like he's a bit wasted here. He's limited, playing a supporting role. And I don't know, it's just, to me, it's not one of the worst films ever made, but I think it's a bit of a misfire. That's just me. So, yeah, that's kind of what it is to me. Again, a time waster, at best. But that's just my opinion on Red Sonja. But that's my review of Red Sonja. Thank you for watching. And next, we'll be talking about an action classic, Commando. So we're finally going to get to that. But thank you for watching and have a good day.